And again, you could do this with bandsaw or whatever. Almost got in too far there.
You can hear the noise already.
Yeah, you can start hearing the changes in the wood. Water's just running out of this piece of wood. I think it's thawing out.
That's the first time it's been this warm since fall.
Yeah. You can see the light. You can literally see the strokes of the axe on that, where it's thin and where it's not. Got that front end now kind of thin, so I kind of got to watch what I'm doing a little bit. I can't just wail on this thing or I'll bust the front of my cup off. I've left a little bit of meat in there, but not a lot. And when you start getting down there, you want to start checking a lot. You don't get too close. No point in ruining it before you even get it done.
Oh my gosh. Looks like an ear.
Uh-huh. If you can get that sun right on that, you can really see how translucent it becomes. It's really thin right there. It's at the thickness I want right there. So we got it down to there. So we got to take it off and turn it into some kind of a cup. It's kind of where we're at.
Now, could you start the other bowl at this point, or would you worry about cracking the other side?
I don't know. If I was outside, I wouldn't worry at all. And this is really wet, but being in here, I don't know if I run a risk of that blowing up or not. I mean, we can see. We can go ahead and start on the other one. And
well, the way I look at it is you've got that other handle.
You're right. Right. I do. I've got a handle right now.
If I was doing it, that's what I would want.
So we're going to do this one as an outside in. And we know that the handle on this one's gonna go up and in, so coming in here a little bit's no big deal right now. We're just helping ourselves out down the road on the one I've already done. Okay. Yeah, let's put a bowl in there and kind of see what it looks like, and we'll go from there. Just irritating. And I like to start in like that across the grain. They don't stand any risks of a major tear out or anything doing that. My adze is sharp and it'll just cut right across that grain. We could have left that up the bark and had a swoop shape on our cup, and we may get there a little bit anyway. When we get into one of the smaller pieces of this and do an outside in cup, and it'll have more of that effect on it. And then once I get some depth established, then I'll start going back with the grain and getting those longer chips coming off of it. I like to get that pocket established. Kind of traps that adze in there then. That's going by. This is all real close work here to sharp things. You just want to really pay attention to what you're doing. You could wear a cut-proof glove. Like I said, if you got a lot of faith in them. I have more faith in my control, I guess, than I do my cut-proof gloves. I just try to work slow and pay attention to what I'm doing. This is a nice time of year to make bowls and things, cups and stuff, because coming into a good drying season, and spring's a good time for drying lumber off the saw too, because it's not like the hot dry of summer.
It's not harsh.
It's not harsh. It's kind of brings everything along slowly, which I like that with my wood. Summer gets to be too much at times. Just hard on things. Spring you have wet, cool days and things. It's just a good time for wood. Still got a little heat on in the shop, so trying to dry things out. They dry out fairly fast. We're just about done here. Man, we're where we want to be. Okay, back to spoon knife. I'm going to try to get kind of a nice balanced cavity here. I got a little tear out over here and I got bark over here, so this is going to dip in the middle a little bit. So I'm just going to go for a nice symmetrical cavity, and then I'll worry about evening up those sides with just a knife at the end. You can see the ring pattern starting to develop in there, that bullseye pattern starting to show up there in the wood. So like I said, we don't have a lot of grain to work with here, so that'll be kind of cool. Again, that's just all kind of knowing your material and how that grain's going to be depending on how you cut the tree. You can see it out here on the edges. You see that ray fleck in there pattern. And sycamore has a very pretty quarter sawn ray fleck pattern. It's much like quarter sawn oak, or much like lacewood. Quarter sawn sycamore looks a lot like lacewood. A lot of people don't think of it that way, but it's actually kind of a neat wood. Mostly gets used for pellets in this country.
Really?
Yeah, not furniture. It's a very unstable wood. That's why I'm kind of curious to see how these do, because sycamore has the highest drying ratio of any wood on this continent as far as tangential and perpendicular to the growth rings. Sycamore has the greatest disparity of any wood. Most woods are 1 to 1.2 or 3, and sycamore is like 1 to 1.8 or something like that. There was originally another name for it on this continent. It's buttonwood, because it doesn't split well. It's resistant to split. It has kind of an interlaced grain structure. And it was used a lot for making wooden buttons early on.
Because it was tough.
Because it was tough, yeah. And then its final use of any really big commercial use, before it just got turned into basically being pellet wood, was butcher blocks.
Okay.
And it was stood on end in the butcher blocks and used in butcher blocks in small blocks, glued and clamped together, and they made butcher blocks out of it.
Because it won't split.
Because it wasn't split, right. And take a constant end attack of a meat cleaver and not split it. And it was used in butcher blocks. So anytime you see a big butcher block, it's probably sycamore. And another thing about it, why it was used there and things too, is it doesn't, it's kind of like beech. Beech was used a lot for treenware, but sycamore won't impart a taste or flavor to your whatever you have in it. It's real neutral that way. Which you would think, being the kind of colorless wood that it is, you can see it being a fairly neutral wood.
It's just kind of bland.
Yeah, it's just kind of bland. That's it exactly.